Hello, and welcome to the Project Good podcast. I'm your host, Annmarie Hylton. Project Good is a social impact podcast interviewing experts and advocates about the pressing problems that we face globally and hearing how they suggest we move forward in the future. The Project Good podcast is brought to you by Project Good Work. The goal of this podcast is to inspire people and organizations to develop a mindset that can move others to positive action regarding the complex social issues facing people and the planet. For March, in celebration of Women's Month, we have a special episode focused on strength training for women. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Sheena Shelton, founder of Bodied by Sheena. Ms. Shelton is a certified personal trainer specializing in strength training and corrective exercise. Her mission is to empower women to find their inner strength and confidence through the transformative power of weightlifting and proper form. She is passionate about creating a welcoming and inclusive space where every woman feels supported and valued, along with being committed to walking alongside clients on their fitness journeys, providing personalized care and encouragement every step of the way. Together with her clients, she's building a community that lifts each other up, both physically and emotionally, fostering well-being and self-love. Let's get into the interview. When we talk about middle-aged women and health, there are several key areas that become particularly important. Around the ages of 40 to 60, women often experience significant physical and hormonal changes, which can influence their health in various ways. Some of the most important health considerations for middle-aged women include menopause, which typically occurs between the ages of 45 and 55, marking the end of a woman's menstrual cycles. Hormonal changes, including drops in estrogen and progesterone, can lead to symptoms such as hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, and sleep disturbances. These changes can also increase the risk of conditions like osteoporosis and heart disease due to the loss of estrogen's protective effects. As estrogen levels decrease, women are at a higher risk for osteoporosis, a condition where bones become brittle and weak. It's essential to maintain bone health through weight-bearing exercises and calcium-rich diets, and sometimes supplements or medications as recommended by a doctor. The risk of heart disease increases after menopause due to changes in hormonal levels and other lifestyle factors. Regular cardiovascular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, managing cholesterol levels, and reducing stress are important steps to reduce this risk. Many women notice changes in metabolism and weight distribution as they age. Maintaining a balanced diet with proper nutrients and staying active can help maintain weight, reduce the risk of conditions like type 2 diabetes. Certified personal trainer Sheena Shelton and the host of the Fully Surrendered podcast brings her lived experience of faith, overcoming fears, and using fitness as a tool for rebuilding strength physically and mentally. In each episode, she encourages women over 30 to embrace resilience and find hope, reminding them that this too shall pass, and they're not alone in their journey, making her the perfect person to discuss the power of strength training today. Welcome, Sheena.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited about this conversation because, I have to get out there myself and start, pounding some weights. I got to work on this core and all these, these things. It's scary, but it's something I have to do.
Yes.
And so, before we get into the list of questions for the interview and really dive into it, I always ask a guest a kind of a personal question or something to get to know their heart and the type of person that they are. So I wanted to know, how has becoming a personal trainer changed your perspective on life?
Oh my goodness. It has changed my perspective tremendously because I've always loved fitness, but it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that I finally took it serious and stepped into it. So like I said, I always loved fitness. I always loved lifting. I boxed for a couple years, boxing club. I've always drawn towards fitness and health communities, just on my own. But then I decided, at one point, I couldn't find a personal trainer that I really wanted to work with. I found it challenging to find someone to fit my schedule. And then finally I said, you know what? I'm just going to become a trainer myself. I can do this myself. And so I did. I had an opportunity to start my certification. I started it, I finished, and I launched a business, which is still all crazy to think about and reflect on. But I finally feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'm happy. So yeah, it's definitely changed my life for the better.
Oh, wow. That's, that is I think that's a different story than I've heard before is that, trying to find a trainer to fix your schedule and you push yourself just to become your own trainer.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it.
I was like, you know what? I can do this, you know? So, and I did. So, uh-huh.
Okay, I like that. So, today we're discussing about, women and strength training and, I guess overall, women's health. We all have to, men and women, worry about our health equally. But, when it comes to women, women obviously are dealing with different issues when it comes to fitness. Many women go through a period where they may have a child or not. And so recovering from things such as pregnancy. We all know that your body makes a bunch of different changes during those 9, 10 months that you are preparing yourself for having a child. And so the aftermath of that obviously is that, most women, unless, they were, star athletes or, already had a very like, I don't know, maybe they were marathon runners before are usually not, working out like super hard for multiple reasons during their pregnancies, such as, safety, and you're exhausted. just just to be just to be honest. And so, so those are that's one thing that women are dealing with. And then of course, we all age, so we have to, think about our aging bodies. And then there's the thing of menopause that women go through, which is, entails a whole bunch of hormonal changes. And so, in your business, you focus on women. I guess I should start there. Was there a reason that you decided to focus on women?
Well, initially it wasn't that my thought was, solely I only want to serve women. But the obvious came to me like, well, I'm a woman. I know what I've gone through. I know the challenges that I've gone through. I know that there's other women who have gone through the same thing. So it kind of happened like naturally. The clients and the inquiries that I was receiving were from other women like myself, 30, 35 plus, and Black women mostly. But that's kind of how it unfolded. And then I, just meeting with my clients and getting to know them and building a rapport with them and hearing their stories, there's so many similarities. And I draw from that. And I'm like, okay, well, I know where her, I can tell like where her mindset is or what her challenges are, but let me feed that. Let me like pour into her in that way. So I've always said that it's bigger than fitness. It's always been bigger than fitness. I think setting that a foundation to create a safe space for my clients is important, and that's kind of where it came from. I do get inquiries from men as well or younger women as well, but I know that I resonate most with other women like myself.
Yes, and when I was going through your website and things, and I know you focus on women like, I could say over 30, because when you're 30, the next day you're already over. um, so you focus on women who are over 30. Now, as a trainer, I know, very, I guess, very little in the training world.
Mhm.
But what are some of the things that when new clients approach you, I guess, in this age group of going 30 plus, what are, I guess, things that women start to focus on or are concerned about?
Definitely building the strength. They're also concerned about their core mostly, and just feeling overall healthy. So I noticed like with some of the younger population in the fitness industry, they may be solely focused on glutes or solely focused on, upper body or whatnot. But with this age range, I've noticed it's an overall fitness journey that they're on, and it's building strength and also their cardiovascular health and also, internal. So it's like the emotional well-being that comes with it as well. So at this point, yeah, I'm definitely seeing that with a lot of the clients in that age range with overall health for longevity and for their children as well.
Yes, and so the other thing that this is, I guess, maybe a thing that turns maybe women off when they hear strength training is they worry about, I guess, bulking up, right?
Yep. Hmm.
And so, because we live in a culture where everybody, you want to be like as skinny as possible and, you
Yeah.
know, runway ready, right?
Yes.
um, and so, why is strength training particularly important for women, or how do you alleviate the fears that I'm not going to be like the next Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Um, Interestingly enough, I have not received any like clients who've had that mindset or mind frame. I know that is like a popular thing in fitness, right? But I think that's probably what has drawn my demographic towards me is because they see that like we're gonna lift heavy and we're gonna still be feminine and beautiful and all of those things, like I don't I've heard it and it's just so interesting, but I haven't heard that from them particularly. But I think there's a beauty in it. There's a beauty in being able to like lift heavy things and still look good and feel good. And also the bulking, like that's I think it has to be extreme. Like you have to literally be on extreme bodybuilding status. And you could still build strength and still be a feminine, beautiful woman. So I think they're seeing that it's possible and they're not fearful of that coming out. And also not overdoing it. You have to know. That's one thing I have to know about my clients. Yeah, what are their goals? You know what I mean? Like how do they move? What is their body style? Like I have to be able to pivot towards each client and what works for them. So, yeah, it's kind of like not that like wouldn't easily happen, like just we start living and suddenly they're feeling, if anything, they're feeling stronger. They're feeling like, wow, they're doing things they never thought they'd do. And it's just so amazing to see. So,
Yeah, so, I guess that's great that your clients, it sounds like you attract clients that are already kind of motivated to think differently.
hmm.
Um, and so I guess especially when you start to get into the women that are in their 40s, that may or may not have had I guess, a regular workout routine and things like that. I'm making the assumption because a lot of women, when they do get into that 40 range, start to have other concerns, or sometimes you're just darn exhausted,
Yes,
right? And so
yes. Hmm.
you just need something that's going to be doable and something that you can maintain, but makes you feel like I would say that you are in this age range, like still having some control over your body, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So so I guess when what's your approach to women in this age of 40 and approaching menopause, or dealing, or maybe already dealing with menopause? Like do you have like a different approach than maybe some of your clients that are they're in their early 30s?
Yes, I do. Actually, a couple of my longest clients were and they're seniors.
Mhm.
And actually, yeah, one of my first clients was she was maybe in her 60s and she was with me the longest. And I I know that when they're coming to me, especially like in this age range or they've been through so many different things, that it's an extremely vulnerable step that they take towards a better self, like, and a better them. And so I meet them where they are. With all my clients, I meet them where they are. But when they come to me, I just love it. I love it. I'm like, I am here to support you. This is all about you. I tell them the first thing is we want you showing up. You're not showing up for me. You're showing up for yourself. I'm going to be here waiting for you. So we start there. It's so important to build the consistency before we start to get more into the full workout and the routine. as they're building consistency and showing up at least 2 days a week, I had a client showing up just 1 day a week and seeing tremendous growth in her confidence and strength and everything. So it's all about me meeting them where they are, listening to what their needs are, and then also slowly building on that consistency little by little. Um, I also think it's important too, like when I am serving this population, that when the women do come in, like I'm slowly getting into the workout routine. Like, let's do a couple body weight exercise. Let's see how your flexibility is, using some band work and slowly doing things. And then we'll slowly start to incorporate the weights, and okay, now we need 2 days a week. All right, here we go, like 3 days a week. So the slow build up, and their confidence slowly starts to like go up as well. And then they do things they didn't think they could do. And then 6 months later, I'm like, oh, remember the first day you came in here? And it's such a beautiful experience. And I'm just truly grateful to be able to like do this work and serve these women and see them like one of my clients said, I came alive again. Again, like a lot of us are mothers, and she'd been taking care of her adult daughter for so long, that had some special needs. But she said, this is my time. This is me time. And I think that's so important that we give that to ourselves as well. Even if you're not with a trainer and you just go for a walk 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, that alone is going to change your entire life. Just taking that time for yourself and moving your body at the same time.
Yes, and especially in this, like, I love that you had a client that, said that this brought them back alive. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think especially for women when you hit that middle age range, life is tough out here, as we all know.
Right.
And
Right.
so, and there's so many things that are happening to you daily and through the years. And so, really being able to, I think, this is just my observation, being
Mm-hmm.
a woman and then also talking to other women. I see that most women, when they start to really look, run down, they have it's almost, well, I would say it's because of society and, has programmed women that, well, unfortunately, I would say maybe that they always think of themselves last.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, when women are looking in this rundown matter, excuse me, everyone, for saying that, but that's what it looks like. uh,
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
it is because they haven't taken the time to, prioritize themselves, not realizing that they must. Whether we want to argue about it or not, women are physically created different than men. I know we're in a
Mm-hmm.
society that doesn't want to look at that, but
I know.
but it's the truth, everyone. And so,
Yes, it is.
and and so, you have to take care of yourself differently. It's like, I'll just do a simple comparison. If you have the dog versus the cat in your home, you know that the cat is not going to be excited if you bring out the leash, right? The cat is going to freak out like, "Are you kidding me? I know how to come back home. You don't have to worry about me."
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
So, so we have to just, come to terms with this, that you can't just, run yourself like a man, because you are not one. And so
Right.
you have to take a different approach to your health. And then speaking of that, since you were working with or are working with women who are in that middle age bracket that are sometimes dealing with menopause, how does this strength training help with things that they're dealing with, like these mood swings and the weight gain and the hot flashes?
Yes. Well, I want to also second what you said and kind of piggyback off that. Like, I tell my friends all the time, like, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your family because, like we cannot pour from an empty cup. We have to fill ourselves and we have to take care of our physical and emotional need, before we can serve others, at least at our best. So I thank you for saying that and sharing that because it's so true. So with strength training for women, specifically with the menopauses, I think it's really important that they don't overdo it. Like, you see on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, like they're pushing this weight and throwing all this weight around. It's very, very important to, even if you're just moving your body weight alone, to do small like circuits. Like I like to do at least small incremental circuits 3, maybe 4 times a week. But that you're like doing full body, you're moving your full body, you're doing compound movements where we're moving our arms and our legs at the same time. Um but just 3 times a week. And also with the walking, you wanna have an active rest day where you're not just, like, resting, "I'm not moving my body at all," but we're just gonna go for a walk, or maybe you like to dance, or maybe, swimming, whether it's an active rest day. But let's see here, um well, with strength training, it helps to preserve the muscle mass. So, like with the menopause, it can cause a loss of muscle mass. So, when you're strength training, even at the smallest weight, it's the reps that you want to make sure you're doing, moving your body with proper form. You can slowly start to build that muscle back up. And then also, um, it also, like, with strength training, it can, help with your metabolism because menopause can cause a slower metabolism there. And then, you mentioned it earlier in the introduction with the bone density and osteoporosis, like, that's something that I see my mom, currently suffering with now, and so I try my best to kinda, aid her and guide her in that way, like, little by little, but I'm also seeing the effects of the menopause. So it's so interesting. Even when you invited me to have this conversation, I had to, like, reflect on what does menopause mean to me and what has it in my life. And I go, well, like I see it firsthand with my mother. So those bones can be very brittle. She's heard that feedback from her doctors. So even if it's here, mom, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, here we go. We're going to go for, vote 6. All right. I see she could do more. Come on, 2 more, nice and slow. It's not fast. It's not heavy. It's slow, intentional movements to keep your body going. So those are the main things. Yeah. Compound movements, the walking, to combat all of those symptoms.
Yes, and then the other thing that, I think that everybody's thinking about, obviously, when fitness, at least this is the first thing I think about, is like food.
Mhm.
And now,
Yes,
um,
yes.
and so, I think everybody knows that you can't go to Mickey D's and expect wonderful results. But,
Right.
what I guess, how does your diet need to change? I guess, particularly, I'm particularly focused on women. I think I also,
Right.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a trainer, but I'm thinking that
Mhm.
diets for women have to be different than men.
So I would say like overall health, it doesn't necessarily have to be different, but it depends on like your body, your makeup, what are your goals, do you have any pre-existing conditions? But specifically to menopause, you want to prioritize your protein, you want to prioritize your fiber. So making sure you have an increased protein focus. I know a lot of people say it's so hard to make my protein, it's so hard to get it in, but really, as long as you're having that good portion of protein throughout the day, you can also, have a protein shake, but that you're having those lean meats, the fish, the tofu, um, and even like some sorts of beans in your diet daily is going to help with your dietary. And then also, calcium and vitamin D. Some people like to drink the bone broth that they have sometimes, your leafy greens. And also, supplements. If you need to take if you're vitamin D deficient, you need to take a vitamin D supplement, that works as well. I have one for myself as well. And then your healthy fats, your omega 3s. I also take the omega 3s to reduce your inflammation, support your heart health. You can also eat salmon. I love salmon, walnuts, flax seeds. Those are the type of things that you want to have in your diet. Well, when it comes to fiber, because we need to prioritize not only our protein but our fiber foods. Those help regulate our digestive support and also our cholesterol levels. So vegetables, fruits, whole grains, those things are going to support with that fiber health. And then, of course, we want to stay hydrated. So, that water, keeping our water intake, and it reduces the dryness. And yeah, so that's what we're going to, some people walk around with a gallon. I think it's excessive. It's hard to drink a gallon a day. You know what I mean?
I've
I'm
seen
like,
those
I got my
people.
40-ounce cup. It's a bit much, you know. I mean, it's possible, but it's every day, day to day person. Like, come on. But drinking that water, getting your water in, and keeping the sugar down. Like I'm literally having a cup of coffee right now, but I just put like one little scoop of heavy cream, and I'm good. I don't need to add any extra. I've been trying to be mindful of that, but I feel like the overall changes you should have in your diet are pretty much like what every person should have for a healthy, balanced diet, but prioritizing that protein and that fiber and staying hydrated are essential.
Yes, you made me laugh because I just remember, all my years, my younger years in, offices,
Uh-huh.
and I remember seeing, like, the discussion used to be, like, around in the office and the lunch table, I tell you, like, almost every woman, in the office was always on some kind of crazy diet, right? And they would
Yes.
and so lunch hour would come, right? And some of them, I specifically remember a few people, they had their gallon jug of water that they lugged around looking like they were, in the airport with like a suitcase. They looked just like so tired of this thing, right? Right? And then they would be like, all
Yes.
right, and they just like lift it up and chug it. I'm doing it, right? And that's how they were perceived. And then they would like open the fridge and take out their small bag of carrots and and a piece of chicken, right? And I
And they're
right, and
miserable.
yes, and they looked miserable as they watched everybody else, and I have to confess, right? Because I do like to eat, and I guess I should knock on wood because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Most of my life I've been a fairly thin person, so I would be, open my lunch and here I am having my steak sandwich, right? Right. And so I would get these like upset, like, looks. But, when I was younger, I was a cross country runner. So, if you know anything about cross country runners, you're just, burning
Mm,
calories, like, so
yeah,
you can
yeah.
be like, oh, let me have the
Definitely.
steak and the supply to be like, that's okay, right? But but I remember that so well in so many offices of all these women looking so miserable with their gallon jug of water. And so, so it's refreshing for you to bring that up, that it doesn't have to be like, like a death of eating or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
you really just want to be mindful,
Mhm.
like, um, just like not just eating anything or whatever, like, okay, like small little habits, like those incremental little habits day by day, even if it's like hour by hour, choose this or that, or like, okay, I'm gonna have, even me, like I said, oh, I have my 40 ounce here, like of water, I'll drink that. If I get through that today, oh, I'm good. But what's my goal? Like at least two, three on a good day. But even just, if you're out at a restaurant, like, okay, let me look at the options. Not to say you don't want to enjoy your life because I don't believe in that. I'm a foodie, literally born this way, foodie, love food. But I'm like, okay, well, if I know I'm going to go out to dinner on this day, well, the days leading up to it. All right, I want to make sure I'm doing really good, at least trying my best, but it's being mindful of what you're consuming and what you're putting in your body.
Yes. And speaking of your approach about mindfulness, the other thing I noticed as I was preparing for this interview and just kind of seeing how you interact socially with telling people about your business is that it seems that you've taken a holistic approach that comes from your previous career. So how have you created, how have you incorporated what you've done in the past into what you do now?
Yeah, it's really interesting when I saw that question. I initially thought when I decided that I'm gonna go forth with this, I'm going to, become a certified personal trainer. I thought I'm taking a whole career change. Like this is a whole pivot. Like I don't know anything about business, but as I step into the role and as I begin to take on clients and navigate the fitness industry, I realized very quickly that all of the skills that I had in my previous career, which is almost 20 years in social services and counseling and social change, that a lot of my skills are transferable. I'm still meeting people where they are. I'm still, and kind of like counseling, case managing each person, so I've transferred those skills. I really believe that it makes me a better trainer. Has like my couple years so far in the industry, I've noticed how other trainers train, and I feel like it's I've seen more so just do this, do that, but I meet them where they are, and I'm like, let's do this together. Let me show you how this is done together because you're trusting me to show you this and show you the right way, and then I slowly step away and let them kind of do the movements on their own. So it I think it gives me an advantage. I truly believe that. I mean, I've seen it, and even with the feedback on my Google reviews, I'm still kind of like it's surreal. Like, am I really doing this thing? But I am, and I'm so happy. And I finally realized, yeah, you know what? All of the experience in social services and serving so many different people and different backgrounds and demographics and age ranges has prepared me for this time. So yeah, I think that's how where my holistic approach comes from, just, being able to build rapport, create a safe space, and meet them where they are. Mhm.
I guess now also within, just the health industry, the taking the holistic approach and really examining, I guess why people are where they are, especially when it comes to fitness, right? I think people used to like to take the simplest approach and say, well, the reason that you're overweight is because you can't put down the plate of barbecued chicken, right? But now with this newer approach that I've seen in the industry, it's more than just the fact that I can't put down the plate of chicken. And your approach of like really getting
Mm.
into the mind of why the person does what they do when it comes to, maybe food, or why they haven't, why they don't, feel that they can, go for a walk down the street, is
Yeah.
really, I think, makes a transformative difference in, how we approach things now. I'm sure, just like you were saying, that you've seen that because you had that background of understanding that, things were
Mhm.
deeper than what we see on the surface, has really,
Yes. Mhm.
helped you, I guess, transform clients. And I guess, it might be even more rewarding than your previous career because, the thing is that you may have seen some, physical manifestations of, change, but especially when it comes to fitness, it maybe happens quicker than it did in maybe a social services type of atmosphere.
Yes, 100%. I mentioned before that it's bigger than the fitness. I sometimes tell my clients when they're like, "What are we doing today?" And I'm like, I have everything set up. And they're like, "Oh no, I can't do that." I say, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You've done harder things than this. You're stronger than yes, you can." And they do it, and they're, "Oh my God," because it's our mental, it's our mindset. Even as you mentioned, like the walks. That's how I restarted my fitness journey after leaving a very toxic relationship a couple years ago. That's really what ignited. Like, I gotta go outside. I hadn't been outside and I don't know how long. Not only was I in a toxic relationship, but it was also during the time of COVID. So the entire world was shut down and I was isolated 100%. After being in the house for so many days, I'm like, I didn't feel right, but I didn't have the language to explain and describe what I was feeling. And I just said, I don't remember the last time I went outside. I think I need to go outside. So I did that and I just put one foot in front of the other and I started walking. I couldn't believe it. I felt like, whoa, like all this time. Walking is what reignited my own personal fitness journey and being able to put one foot in front of the other. And literally I said, okay, I'm gonna go outside today. I'm gonna walk down to that block, to that corner and come back. And I did that. And then the next day I went a little further. And then the next day I went a little further and I just started looking at the beauty in nature, and it did something for my mental health that I never imagined. I couldn't have anticipated it do. And so when my clients are feeling like they can't do this or do that, I said, if you don't do anything else for yourself, go outside and take a walk. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, go outside and take a walk. It regrounds you in a way that walking into a gym will not do.
The other thing is that it's I don't mean to be like well, I guess maybe blunt, but this gives you no
Mhm.
excuse, right? Everybody can walk out the door.
Yes. Yes,
Everybody
100%.
can walk out
Yes,
the
you
door.
can. Yeah, and then also lets me to see like, well, how committed are you, to your journey? How committed are you? Okay, and the days that you don't see me, did you go for your walk? I always say, send me a picture, hold them accountable, but send me a picture. But. So
What would you say? Do you have a story of a client that you just were like, wow, that like your favorite? Do you have a favorite client or just a situation that like surprised you through your journey that you were like, oh, this person came like this and they just transformed into something that just wowed you about any of your clients?
yeah. So I mentioned earlier, my client who, she's a senior lady, who was with me for over a year. She was with me. She would refer her friends. So I had like a little community of like senior clients. And within that community, I had one client and actually a male client and he literally just blew me away because he came in his first day he comes in, his head is down, he's really quiet and really really shy. And so like meet them where they're at. All right, that's what we're do today, little by little. And I also I like to overly explain everything that we're doing because I think it's important for them not to just do the movements but to know what we're doing and why we're doing it. But his transformation, he come to the gym now like skipping in, he puts his stuff down, he knows where everything goes, his head is held high, he has a social life now. He's like, I'm out meeting people. And it's just beautiful. It's literally beautiful just to see the transformation and their like confidence and little pep in his step now. He's like moving his body at the gym, doing things that he hadn't thought he'd do before too. And I'm getting so it rolls over into not just their physical well-being, their mental well-being, now social and having a life, not just feeling like, oh, I'm older and I just, stay at home. Now he's out and about and doing things that he hadn't done before. So it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah, the confidence that comes from when you feel the rest of you is together, or you feel stronger. I guess if you feel
Yeah.
stronger from physically inside, that it pushes
Mhm.
you to be stronger from the outside as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, the other thing that I noticed within your business is that you have, and it's not necessarily, I only, like I said, I'm not in the fitness industry, but I do know, like just from browsing that, um, that having a diverse audience is not necessarily happening across the board. So I do notice that in your business, you work with all types of women coming from all different backgrounds. Um, that was, interesting to me because I was wondering, do you have to take different approaches, I guess, within having a diverse community? Or how has that, how does that affect your business or helped your business? Because you have a diverse clientele, they come from all different
Yeah.
backgrounds. Hmm.
Yeah. Initially when I started out as a trainer, I thought I'd have to like serve everyone in a different capacity, but the truth is I'm just myself. Like I always want to be true and authentic and like honest about who I am, where I'm from and how I train. And so I I really can't I really don't know. Like I sometimes I'm curious like, well, what drawn, this person towards me or that person towards me, but I just like reflect on them like, well, okay, I'm gonna read my Google reviews. They just say that I'm patient, they just say that I'm relatable and I just be myself. That's it. I figure like because even when I'm not posting like actively on social media, I'm still receiving inquiries, via my website and whatnot. And so I'm like I just can't believe it. Like I really can't because There's some people who really, really push the marketing, and I haven't been there yet. I haven't done that yet. I continue to receive inquiries from all kinds of people. I just think it's just me being me. And I am always like, um, just asking, like God to keep me humble and as a servant, and whoever comes to me, we're compatible, we can train. If not, I can refer you to someone else. But I really don't know. I just try to remain myself and true and honest about my own experiences. I think that's another thing, being vulnerable, and just sharing that I'm not perfect. I'm just like you. I tell some of my ladies, been there, done that, and that's how I can relate to you. But it's interesting to me to see, like, when people send inquiries, I'm like, wow, okay, but here we are,
Mhm. Yes, and so, yeah, I think that's, I guess finding a real person, is difficult to find, today, and especially when you're dealing with
Yeah.
something so personal as your
hmm
fitness and your health, and so, I think that's, as you've, covered so far, I think that's the thing that's making you stand out is that you, have an approach that is personable, but also
hmm
understanding of, people's challenges that are not only, happening from the outer physical, but, whatever the, mental hang-ups or social hang-ups, and that, that they don't have to, look like they're ready to be the next uh,
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret's model.
hmm
And what I noticed also just watching some of your videos is just like, an acceptance of, the multiple body types, which I think, that has been, um, uh, I know in the last few years, I don't know how it's going to go for this
hmm
year, but, body diversity obviously was a big,
hmm
driving campaign. And, people were like, well, this is just how I am, right? I'm tall, I'm short, I'm, a little bit,
Yeah.
meatier in some areas or not. And so having the acceptance and that body diversity, and it seems that, this is just my observation, is that your approach is about just just pushing overall health, that you're not trying to squeeze in the box with everybody else.
Right. Yeah. That's something I too like learned quickly on my own journey is, before I was like, oh, I want to look like this, or I idolize her. But when I became like really heavy into my fitness journey, and I started to see myself transformed internally, and then the external, then the aesthetics came, what my best looked like wasn't what I was idolizing. And so I quickly was like, you know what? Wow, I didn't expect this. This is who I am. This is like, this is me and my healthiest and my fittest. Like, this is beautiful, and this is like what I accept. And so I try to tell my clients, oh, that's cool if they say, oh, I like her, or they're pointing all these fingers, and I'm like, but you're like, who you're meant to be at your best self, your healthiest self, and your most fit self is who you're meant to be. It's not anyone else's, like, so I try to like redirect those comments back to oneself. Like, your fittest, your healthiest is yours and yours only, because this days, like, it's been such an interesting experience in pivoting to this career because of all of the perfectionists, or like, all of those things you see on social media. That's why I am not always on there because it can just sway you one way or another. And a lot of it's not real. A lot of it's not real. So I try to reground my clients and reminding them too of that. Like, that's just social media. There's so many filters and edits that can make, but discard all of that. If that's all gone one day, who and what you like at your fittest is what matters.
Yes. As the saying goes, be yourself because everybody else is already
Yeah.
taken.
Yep. 100%. And there's no one else like you.
Yeah, so yeah, that was the one thing that really stood out when I was observing is that, what made your business special is that you are encouraging women to accept, like, this is my best. It's not the same as, my friend, Amanda or,
Yeah.
Rebecca or Tracy or, it's this is my best. And so I feel great and I look
Mhm.
great just as I am. So that was remarkable. So I know that we are a little bit on a time crunch, so I will work to wrap it up. But the next thing, I guess, is where is Bodied by Sheena going in 2025?
Well, Bodied by Sheena is going to now provide virtual services. I noticed that with the inquiries that I received, that there were some women who are not in the city, maybe not even in the state. And so I am also including virtual services so that I can reach a broader audience and serve a broader audience. And I'm super, super excited to do that. This is going to give me the ability to help more people, and I'm excited. So that's where we're going 2025. Some in-person sessions, virtual services are offered. I do have a couple of pop-ups here in San Diego coming in the spring and summer. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. I'm super excited.
It sounds wonderful, and if it fits my schedule, I may just join you because I got to work on this body.
Yes, I'll be here. I'll be here waiting for you.
Yes. So,
But
I guess, in a closing statement, I'm going to do the fun thing sometimes that I do. I'll give you the quirky question of what is fitness?
ooh, fitness. Okay. Fitness is a way to move your body and to build a healthier lifestyle. Fitness can look like what you want it to look like. It could be strength training, it could be running, swimming, walking, but it's moving your body. That's what I would say fitness means.
I like it because I like it because it's doable. Pun
Yeah,
intended,
it is
pun intended
doable.
and not intended.
Yep.
It's doable. So I like it.
You can do it in your living room as well. So
Yes, I like that. So thank you, Sheena, for your time and insight. To learn more about Sheena Shelton, go to bodiedbysheena.com. If you have a passion for an unserved community, a social justice problem, or want to change minds, contact Project Good Work at projectgood.work to start your project of change today. Subscribe to our mailing list at projectgood.work/subscribe to get our episodes and blog articles sent to you each month. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Project Good, where we're focused on what matters.